Whenever I think about my work with God and how far I've come with God, I'm always very grateful to naysayers. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate Johnson. I'm a Nigerian currently living in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm a film on faith, lifestyle, and self development. So before I begin to explain what I mean by the statement I made earlier on, let's take it back to the beginning. I grew up in a Christian home, my dad and mom are devout Christians. But it happened that my personality was not very regular. I had a very lively, active, bubbly personality. In the environment I was in at the time, the understanding of Christianity was only being solemn, quiet, being so put together and the rest. And I exactly didn't fit that mold because man, I just came into the world and I saw that I'm like this, right? Because of that, some persons around me judged me, not my family. Most of them judged me from maybe probably some things that they saw me express outside. And because of that, so there were a lot of you see this girl, you see this girl, you see this girl. I had some delay getting into the university, even in Nigeria, you know about jam too many times, and I wasn't able to get into school with my mates. I literally had to wait for some years before I got into school. So during that waiting period, there were a lot of conversations that were going on. And one day, someone said to me, he said something that I think that thing was meant to break me, but I picked it up and decided to turn it around. He probably wouldn't even remember that he said that to me till today, but the scars of what he said to me, I still kind of live with it till today. And I'm happy because the sky is no longer like a painful sky. It's not a sky I look at and I'm like, no, it's a scar that I look at. I'm like, thank God this scar exists. I grew up in Omaha, Abia State. So as at that time, if you school in Absu, you're seen as a wild child. Then if you school in Moayu, you're seen as a calm child. Like Moayu is like Michael Okpara University. So and Absu is like Abia State University. The good kids or the potentially good kids are the kids that they expect to turn out to go to Michael Okpara University. The children that go to Absu, like Abia State University, are like wild children. So one day we are just talking, and it was just like a general conversation, not like we're even talking personally. So I don't know, maybe I said one of my things or did one of my Bazaquin things, and it was not like, huh, if your mother knows what is good for her, she should better send it to Michael Okpara University and not to Abia State University. Meanwhile, I wanted to study law, and Michael Okpara University does not offer law, and ABSU, Abia State University, offers law. So these are the closest universities, like in my state. So it was like, if your mother knows what is good for her, she should better send it to Michael Okpara University, because if you go to Abia State University, there is no coming back for you. You are gone, like you will be gone in the wind. As he said that thing, like I don't know what he had in mind when he was saying it, but it hit me. Like I felt hot. Like I felt so hot. I was like, Jesus, what's going on? Like, am I that bad? Like, what's going on? Like, what did this guy say in me that made him make this kind of statement? It's what I've come to realize now. I believe he said whatever he said from his level of understanding and not from a place of maybe necessarily trying to hurt me. It's because to him, Christianity or whoever would turn out to be a good child or a godly person is someone that is so quiet, that is so melancholic, that is so phlegmatic, those kind of withdrawn personalities. And then the people that are out there that have the Bazaquin, that have bubbly personalities, will not or do not turn out to be good Christians. So I lived with that statement. And even subsequently, I had some other around, this girl, she goes to APSU, oh, she's gone, all those kind of things. So when I got into school, I took it upon myself. I was like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I told myself that I was going to prove them wrong. I was going to make sure that whatever they predicted about my life was going to turn out wrong when I got into school. So I was like, what's the first line of action? Maybe they think I'm going to go into the world because I'm not in school. Now we're going to church, we're going to fellowship. So I found the fellowship, and thank God my mentor at the time suggested. And when I went there, I felt like, oh, I liked what they were doing. I joined the fellowship. I don't know how I came up with that level of understanding and wisdom, but now I think it was the Holy Spirit, or it is the Holy Spirit, that was literally guiding my steps to become who I have become today. Like there was just this wisdom that came to me to tell me that nature abhors vacuum. I don't know if that's how they say it. Like if you don't want something to exist somewhere, then you have to fill up that space with what you want to exist. So I was not like, if I don't want to start going to places or having associations that would lead me astray and I'll prove these people right, then what do? I have to do the opposite. I was probably 18, but I don't know how I got that level of wisdom. Because of that, every day after lectures, like instead of me to stay in the hostel and start entertaining the thought of going out, because it's little by little. That's how you used to. That's how they say that street. I was not like, okay, if I go for lecture and I come back any day that there's a weekly activity, I'm going to attend. So because I became active, before you know it, I was given I was given a role, like an assignment to be carrying out weekly. Because of that assignment, I knew that my life had to be in order. I knew that my life had to represent or reflect God, that I cannot do any nonsense. Sometimes those pressures, those things we consider pressures and bad, sometimes they're the things that make us become who we are. That crushing, that pressing is actually what brings out new wine from you. That was how I became committed to God through that fellowship. Do you know that it was in that fellowship that I actually really found God for myself? That has been like one of the strongest pillars of my work with God, even as I'm speaking right now. So sometimes I wonder, what if those people didn't say those things to me? Am I sure I would have implemented those systems? I would have put those systems in place in order to become that person that grew from just being a girl from a Christian home to becoming someone that has a personal relationship with God. Sometimes I believe that naysayers drag us into a place of destiny. So sometimes that thing that someone is saying to you, that thing that someone is telling you that you can't be, that thing that someone is telling you that you can't do. Sometimes instead of you to stay and start hurting and start crying, oh, the world is really a hard place, show more kindness, yada, da, da, da. I'm not saying that it's not the truth, but when they throw that missile at you, take it out, turn it around. Make sure that after God, that you are the next person that is in charge of your life. That is not what anybody is saying. A lot of us actually have traumas, and sometimes it's even our parents, it's even our close ones, it's even our family that caused those traumas. But are you really going to sit back and start sulking about the traumas you have, maybe the pains that people have caused you? Are you going to turn that pain around and turn it to purpose? I remember also passing through a very emotionally draining period some time ago in my life. I was so broken, I was so hot that I literally was living for the now. Every day I wake up, I'll be like, God, can you please give me 24 more hours to live? Because I don't think that with this pain I feel, I don't think I can live for long. But can you give me 24 more hours to live? And after that day, the next day, I'll be like, God, can you give me another 24 hours? That was literally how I was living my life at the time. I was in so much pain, I was in so much hurt, I was broken. Do you know what that thing did to me? Because I didn't have any other thing to do, I didn't have any other person to talk to. Like, it's not like my family was not there, my friends were not there, but despite after talking, like it just felt like sometimes the situation will be salvaged at that point in time. Then after I'll start feeling the pain again. And it just continued that way to the point that I knew that if you keep going back to these people to tell them, oh, I feel this way again, it now looks like you're being a nuisance. I had to turn to God. That was where I realized the place of worship, the place of communing with God, because it made me get closer to God. Before I had that experience, I was that person that whenever I have any emotional distress, I'll start freaking out or snapping. Maybe if you're around me that period, I might just be that person that'll be like, listen, like you just could tell that I'm emotionally imbalanced. I have realized that over time now, since I passed through that phase of my life, anytime I have anything that unsettles me emotionally, I just get back to that place of worship. I just get back to that prayer. I'm just like, God help me. God help me. I might freak out a bit, but once I remember, oh, remember when you passed through this thing before? This is what you did, and this is how you came out. Once I remember it, I just go back. I'll be like, God, please help me. Worship, I will pray. And at the end of the day, I'll come out, I'll feel better. And not just that I'll feel better, that thing will be sorted out, that thing will be handled. And it has even made me become like a more mature person emotionally. Unlike before that, oh, whenever something happens, I'm looking for an emotional dumping ground to dump my emotions on so that they will make me feel better. So sometimes the things that naysayers tell us, the hardship we pass through life, the supposed trauma that people give us, there are ways we can actually launch out. There are ways that we can actually become better versions of ourselves. If those people didn't say those things about me those years, I probably would have derailed without even knowing it. Because at that point, there was no stake, there was no goal, there was no ambition. I would have just lived my life, like go with the vibe, go with the flow, and somehow I would have flow into something that is not God's will for my life. But I believe that whatever that particular guy said, the many other things that some other person said made me have a stake, made me have a goal, and because of that goal, I have become a better version of myself. Life is about perspective, right? So if you see that these persons are against you, they are coming for your life, then it's going to be that. But if you see that, oh, what this person has said, okay, you've made your point, but I'm just going to tell you that that point you made is for you and not for me. What God says is what stands in my life. And you actively work towards making sure that what God has said concerning your life is what is going to stand. So if you do this, you find out that life is going to get way better. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope that this blesses someone out there. And in case you need further listing on this, there is a Bible plan I'm currently reading, The Gift of Rejection by Nona Jones. So you can also read it. So sometimes when people reject you, they actually launch you into a place of destiny. So instead of just sitting back, you're depressed, you're sad, look out for the pain in every purpose. And for every grief, find grace to move your life forward. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. What stood out for you? Is there something you are going through that you'd want me to help you? Like, I could share some tips on how I passed through my own phase. If you want that, you can probably just send me an email. Drop my email in the description box. And yeah, so just do well, take care of yourselves. And until next time, don't forget to let your light so shine.